Hi guys, and welcome to Quinton's Guitar Corner, and in today's episode I'm going to do something a little bit different today, in that I'm going to show you guys how at least I utilize guitar plugins when I'm trying to put them together against drums, bass and anything else that you might find in the context of a song. The plugin in question that I'm going to be using is the Granophyre plugin by Neural DSP, courtesy of Omega amps. I quite enjoy the sound of this plugin in particular. Insane low end that I've not really heard in years. I wanted to see if I could get something that was quite different sounding and just see what happens. Why not? The song in question is by the man himself, Ola Englund. He recently released a single called The Sun and Moon. You can go check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever. He's also released some really great giveaways, like vinyls, to go with that particular release. So in no way, shape or form did I write this song. No way. It's not even in the same ballpark of style that I write, but I do enjoy the track. There's some great guitar playing on there, live drums too. I really love the performance of it. I also took the liberty of laying down a solo at the very beginning of the track, purely because I wanted to showcase the Granophyre in a little bit more detail in terms of how articulate it is from a lead perspective. I was inspired to. I felt like I could do this. It just hit me straight away, and I was like, right, I'm gonna throw down my wah pedal. I'm gonna bend like I'm floating in the air and just go for it. And I did, and here we are. So I hope you enjoy the demo of me playing the solo, and then that I basically had written just off the cuff. And then we'll hop onto my laptop and we'll basically look at how I came to dial in the rhythm sound for these stems. So basically what you can see here is where I have guitar left, guitar right, going into a guitar bus, which is my rhythm guitars. And the idea is, so I'm not doing so much processing on the actual track itself, I just have the plugin running. Guitar 1 is panned to the left, guitar 2 is panned to the right. And then what I have is a separate bus which basically handles all my EQs, a multi-band compressor, and a limiter as well. Now let's just hear the guitar sound as it is. Okay, so in terms of my settings, what I have here is the Omega plugin. And if we go to the actual head itself, my settings aren't too crazy, they're fairly middle of the road. And what you can see is, for the purposes of this video, I've just got it set to normal for now. The gain just shy of 12 o'clock. Bass pretty low, because I wanted quite a bass heavy mix, so to speak. So, especially with the bass guitar kind of driving a bit more of the distortion, a bit more of a cut, especially because like the DI sounded so good, and is a testament to how well Ola records guitars. even though he won't admit it, he knows what he's doing. You've got the mid just shy of 12 o'clock as well. Treble, bang on 12. Got 6L6 valve setting on here. Level and master, just on the level being at 10 and the master just shy of midday. So fairly like middle of the road type settings here. Then I have the voice up and the high switch engaged as well. From the plumes perspective, I've just got the level at just around 2 o'clock, gain off, the far left setting on the mode switch, and the tone just at around 11 o'clock as well. And the plumes is engaged on this because I do quite like a saturated tone. That kind of, even though you don't really need a tube screamer, so to speak, with his head, it does help, I think, in terms of bringing that together. So we then have the 9-band EQ, and what I ended up doing, because you've got so much going on in terms of cymbals and bass as well, what I should say is that what I try and do and what I'm learning to do is learn about the interplay between your kick drum, bass guitar, and the guitar itself. So like if you go too crazy with low end, it tends to muddy up your sound from a guitar perspective, I think, at least anyway. So there's enough low end coming from the bass and the processing involved with that, and enough coming out of the kick drum. So I just thought, right, I'm going to take out this. It's 65 hertz, yeah, 65 hertz, and just take out as much of it as I can. And basically I didn't really push anything above 0 in terms of the faders themselves, but it was just a little bit finessing because, as I've said in a previous video, this EQ is quite finicky and quite sensitive. And then what I did for the cabs, now originally I tried the SM57 plug-in process mic that's on this, and the M160 in the other speaker, or their sample of the M160 rather. And I love them, don't get me wrong, sounded absolutely great. But what I decided to do was I managed to get a hold of some impulse responses of a 14 cab with an SM58 in the left position here, and a M160, a Bayer Dynamic M160 impulse response of 14 cab in the right position here. So what I've got, and I'm driving more of the SM58 to get more of the kind of mid-range, kind of high-end kind of bump that you want, and then I'm using the M160 more as the sort of secondary microphone to kind of fill out the space in terms of your low end frequencies and your low mids as well. And it sounds really cool when you blend them two together. Where did I get that from? Why am I using an SM58 as opposed to a 57? I actually watched a video for metal bass, primarily on metal guitar, that Ola himself did. He did a mic shootout with SM57s and Neumanns and all sorts, and the best all-round mic. And because we played quite similarly in a way, the SM58 just stole the show. So I've actually got one on one of my cabs, which I'll bring out in another video at some point, and I'll show you what I mean. But that's another episode. Basically what I did was I kept the same sound across the left and the right guitar. If I had paired tracks, so like 2 on the left and 2 on the right, I would have one pair with one tone and another pair of a completely different tone, just to sort of get that kind of broad spectrum of tones that you can get and that more full sound. But there was only 2 DIs here, so I thought, right, okay, that's what I'm going to use, go for it. And there is a great preset on here, and what I started off with was the tight rhythm 6L6, because I love the sound of 6L6. for the valve. I also love the sound of the OKT66s or OKT88s. I love ER34s, so like lead tones. They sound cool, but for me, rhythm sound 6L6 all the way for me. And yeah, that's basically what I did. So in terms of, I mean, that's just the stock sound. So if we go over to my guitar bus, what I have is a FabFilter Pro Q2. I actually have two of them in the chain doing two different things. Then I have a FabFilter Pro MB, and you'll see how I use that in a bit. And then I have just a limiter on the end. And that's essentially it. Now, the way that I dialed in the EQ, I mean, I think it's quite drastic, but it was necessary for me doing it against the drums in this way. So it looks pretty extreme. You know, I've got cutting out a lot of the low end, a lot of the high end, and then I picked out specific things that I thought needed just to be taken out. So without plugins engaged, this is what the tone sounds like, and it's still pretty decent, you know. So it doesn't sound bad, like as a source tone. It's just that I wanted to fit this with drums and bass and cymbals and all that kind of stuff, and that's what I felt was necessary, so I just went for it. And it felt cool. Still had that. It actually, in a way, makes it feel a bit more smoother. And so the second EQ, again, just picked up the frequency, but I wanted to give a bit more of a shelf on the high end, to sort of push that out a bit more. A bit of a bump on around 300k. Again, squashing the low end a little bit more because it just felt like it was a bit overbearing, so I kind of pulled it down just to get a bit more clarity in there. And then for the Pro MB, I've basically just got this big high-end kind of floor. Yeah, so I couldn't really explain to you in real terms what the hell I thought I was doing, but there was basically a point in which, you know, the high end was just sizzling through. So I just thought, okay, I need to sort of tame it a little bit. Same with the low end as well. Just, you know, trying to get that balance. You want that. You want the guitar tone to basically sit on top of your drums, right? And that's what I was trying to do, and whilst also allowing enough space for things like your snare and which is always around 500 hertz, so to just kind of push through. And that's basically that. thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as every little helps. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook under the Quinton's Guitar Corner banner. As with this video, I am by no means an expert in the mixing game. I think even more recently I've come to develop a newfound respect for all you producers and front of house engineers and anyone that works in audio engineering. I tip my hat to you. And with that, I hope you guys stay safe, keeping well, and you're enjoying your summer. And I will see you guys very soon. Peace.